What is going on, guys? It's Adam and Marf, and tonight we have a news-only show of epic proportions because we have a ton of news about fireballs, about China, about Germany, about all sorts of things, so stick around. First off, I just want to let you guys know this is a live show. Anything can happen, and of course, again, nothing in this show should be considered legal, medical, or financial advice. The views of the callers can differ considerably and do not necessarily reflect the opinions of myself, Dex, or anyone else with the show. You should always do your own research and consult with professionals. The internet is full of fake news, so please take everything with a grain of salt. With that being said, we actually back up everything that we have here today on our website, so you know exactly where we are getting our information from. If we do not have a source for it, we actually clarify and make sure that you know this. Again, you can go to our website. It's very easily navigable. You can go see this thumbnail, and once you see that, you'll be able to click on it, and then you will be able to go to all of the links. For some reason, I don't know why my cache isn't, but take last night's show, for example. You will actually see that all of the links from last night's show are there. You can click on any one of them and go to the full article and see where it comes from. On top of that, if you're not getting notifications from us, again, you should be going over to our website. Go to marfooglenews.com, and you can get push notifications there. All right, with that out of the way, I do want to get straight into the news, but first we got to introduce Dex. Dex, what is going on? My co-host and internet brother. How are you doing?
Hello, Adam. I'm doing good. And hello, Foogle fam. And the website should work. I don't know what's wrong with it, but
it's probably my it's probably my end. It's probably cached or something. Like
yeah, we did the cache on our end too, just to make sure.
Okay, all right. Again, if you're having any issues, Dex usually fixes anything like this, immediately. This will actually be updated if there is any kind of new information or breaking news. That will be added to the website. Alongside that, you can actually go to the top and get alerts from us. You can get push notifications if you're missing our platforms sending out stuff. So again, thank you guys for all being here. Just to say hi real quick, there's a lot of people that are already here tonight. Thank you guys. Army Gina, Apple Juice, Kim O'Donnell, Mike S., Walter Sapp, Mindzen, Chance Paladin, Liz Bauer says Sound the Bells is here, Haunted Doll, Matt Francis, Lulk. We've got Debbie, Ordinary Everyday, Casual Preparedness. Thank you for coming. Many creators in the audience as well. Jamie Jacobs, we've got Mona Lisa, Clement GD. Thank you guys all for being here. Tall Drink of Water, thank you for being here as well. All right, so Chance Paladin says badges are messed up. I don't know what's going on with that. Usually if they do an update, though, they might be fixing something. But again, we'll check on that. So this fireball over Germany, it says most probably asteroid fragment. Now, the wording of this obviously is pretty clear. It is most likely a asteroid fragment. Now, hate to say it, but I've been trying to tell people for a long time. I know for a fact that they are doing drills and exercises in lieu of a threat from an asteroid. This is something that is a factual thing that most human beings just don't want to think about. And because it is like winning the lotto, as many people put it, it is something that we just kind of put off in the back of our head and don't think is legitimate. It's a legitimate thing. If you're in Tornado Valley, you worry about tornadoes. If you're on Earth, you would think you would worry about asteroids, but we don't because they're so rare. But again, our lifetimes are so small in the grand scheme of things. We live, 60 to 100 years. We are, these just kind of insignificant as far as how long we're on this earth. We have very little time to make an impact. These actually happen all the time. And as far as these fragments coming in, it seems to me that everything I said 3 years ago is now coming true as far as, and by the way, I was going off of a lot of you guys and a lot of the military group that we had in our group. We had over 500 active and retired military group before they closed it down for that purpose. We had a lot of folks saying that this is a serious thing, that they are definitely, this is higher up on the totem pole than what they let the public know. And that's, again, something that, we can back up. And there's a lot of stuff that says that they are drilling and practicing for it, including FEMA actually practicing in New York for a simulation of an asteroid impacting New York, and they failed horribly. It's something that if it happens, it will be something that we are terribly unprepared for. Now, all of our minds are on 50 other things, and not one of them is asteroids coming in and hitting us. So I just think, we get distracted with all of this and that, but when you really look down on it, what are they actually doing? They are trying to get to other planets. All of the elites are leaving their posts and spending time away from work like it's, like we've got a couple of years left. You have Asgardia forming, all these elites forming a sovereign nation in space. You've got them making bunkers like crazy all over the world. You've got most of these elites leaving LA and California and all of these rich areas, even in the Hamptons and things like this. They're all going to New Zealand. So much so that New Zealand has actually cut off people from going and living there or actually owning property unless it's commercial. So you could own an apartment building, but you're not supposed to technically buy a house there. They said that they did that so people in New Zealand could actually get their own property. That seems kind of crazy to me, and the fact that everybody is going to that New Zealand properties. We have real estate agents that have even called in and said it's absolutely insane how many people are going there, and they're all CEOs, they're all people in the know. So what the hell are they doing? What else could happen? Is it something that isn't asteroid related? Is it something that is, say, a huge plan, one of the biggest plans ever pulled off in history that we might be witnessing? Who knows? Again, what is your opinion on this? As far as the fragments coming in and things coming into our atmosphere, there's been a ton of stuff coming in all the time. It's a daily occurrence that we see this. Even just a few years ago, you'd be lucky once a year if you had somewhere in the country that they would cover a bright flash or security cameras would catch it. But now everybody has cell phones, everybody has personal cameras, so people catch it a lot more. Not only that, they have encouraged many countries and many places, some places that's actually required to drive, to have these dash cams, and they're catching them like crazy. Now, bigger and bigger chunks are coming in and burning off, and people are getting video of it. So you don't have to believe me. You can go and do your research yourself. Look at all the stuff that is coming in, and not all of it is burning up. Some of it's even hitting into people's living room. Just a couple weeks ago, a guy was an instant millionaire because an asteroid literally landed in his living room, and he sold it probably to some museum or something and ended up becoming a millionaire instantly. So he did win the lottery, if you could say. It says a mysterious fireball was sighted streaking through the night sky over western Germany at the weekend, astronomers said Sunday. The bright streak lasted 5 to 7 seconds, ending in a jade color and breaking into two smaller blips. A witness at Siegen near Bonn told the Fireball Network, run by Berlin's Technical University and Germany's DLR Space Center. It says, quote, most probably it was an asteroid fragment that had entered the atmosphere, said DLR Fireball expert Dieter Heinlein, positioning Saturday's evening eye catcher roughly over Kassel City in central Germany. So, again, this is right after we had one in Japan. We've had one in Africa. We had one in Europe. We've had several in just the last week. And, of course, they usually say, oh, well, it's this shower or that shower, or they'll put out something preemptively. It seems like almost every week it has been some sort of shower of some sort, even if it's one that they say, you may never have heard of this one, but this one's now here. I want to remind you of the lunar cataclysm that once happened, and something that they have, scientists have looked at and said, could something like that happen again? Well, of course, if you believe, of course, we're floating through space, which, again, I know that there's people that don't. But if we are, then there's something. Or would they set it up to tell us that? Who knows? I don't know. But what I do know is that they're preparing for something, and the elites believe that there's something way more important than this current debacle of who's going to be our next president. That's my opinion. Again, people have called me crazy. People have called, Israeli News Live crazy, saying that we're full of BS. that's fine. Go ahead and do whatever you want. Prepare for nothing. It really doesn't matter to us as far as we don't get extra views. We don't get anything extra. This show has the same or even less views when we talk about it. But I've told you guys we need to prepare for whatever is coming. And there may be many things before that. There are many of you that secretly or out loud believe we are in some sort of end days. Now, it's hard not to with everything that's going on right now. It's pretty crazy. So I do want to show this clip here. Let's see here if we can pick this. This was a dash cam. Again, this is out of Germany, and you can actually see it popping up right there. Boom. It's in the upper right-hand corner of it. Let me get the words out of the way. And as it goes down. What some people that witnessed it said that it turned slightly. I have not seen a video that shows it turn, but I do think that video, it's kind of weird that it doesn't have a tail of any sort. Now, the Japan one lit up the skies as well. So you're talking about multiple big fragments coming in, and I hate to say it, but it makes me think of the movie Greenland. If you haven't seen Greenland yet, I would say figure out how to see it. It uses the famous presidential alert system, which is very scary. It is our doomsday alert that they made a big deal out of because it was T-Man, our commander-in-chief, that put it out. They're like, oh, it's the Donald alert, blah blah blah. I don't want it on my phone if it's coming from him. It's not coming from him. It's a network with FEMA, and it is the doomsday alert. And the scary thing about it is, just as Greenland portrayed it, that is exactly what may happen. If there was a situation where only some could be sheltered, they would pick and choose with that system, and they do have the ability to do that. If you didn't know, it came out after all of this stuff came out from Snowden and others. There's upstream surveillance. There's all sorts of things, which that also could have been a killed two birds with one stone thing. But again, they can send it to very specific people. What's even funnier, that October 3rd test that they did that was supposed to go to every single person in the nation, only about half of the people I know got it, including I didn't and my wife did. But what's crazy is that could be a sign of them pre-picking a random lottery. Who knows? That could have been them actually picking who is going to be saved or not saved. Now, I know that sounds crazy, and that probably is, but again, in the real event, they could pick out certain people by lottery. They could already have a system for it. In the event of a catastrophe, a planetary catastrophe, they could use that system to specifically pick out people and give them instructions directly to their cell phone. Now, that sounds nuts and all, but remember just last year, the Russian submarine that caught fire, and they actually said at their funeral, the 14 sailors that died, the Russian sailors that were in the top secret, ultimately top secret submarine, they said that they died averting the planet from a planetary catastrophe. So things like that do happen, and it's completely classified. We are never told about it. Do you think that if something bad was heading our way, do you think they would tell us? I'll just tell you my opinion is I know they have already found something. That is in my gut. That is in my feeling. That is, again, not something that, that's something that you'll have to do your own research on and judge for yourself. But after we've talked to someone who has literally seen them put money across the table as far as not asteroid cleanup, debris cleanup on a scale where it looks like the entire country needs a cleanup, and we're talking about a ton of money here from a Class 2 gas giant, a C2GG, then it kind of cemented it for me. But again, a lot of people don't want to think about it. They want to put it in the back of their head. They want to say it's BS, and that's fine. But what also other people are saying is that it wouldn't take out the entire world or anything. It would take out certain places. It would cause destruction, and then we would, rebuild those areas and fix it and move on. What do you guys think? See it. Meteors as bright as the full moon lights up sky over Japan. A meteor flying over Japan was captured on video as it burned brightly as it passed through the atmosphere on Sunday. The meteor was spotted in several areas across western and southern Japan. It says, we believe the last burst of light was as bright as the full moon. Takashi Inu, director of the Akashi Municipal Planetarium, told Kyoto News Agency. It says it's possible that the meteor did not completely burn up as it entered the atmosphere, and fragments of the objects may have reached the Earth's surface. Again, these are two fragments of asteroids that got through and possibly both hit. Most burn up. So people, and honestly, how many people do you know, including yourself, maybe think, oh, well, they all just burn up. It's not a big deal. Then occasionally, when they don't, like just a couple years ago in Russia, when it sent a shockwave and broke glass and injured thousands of people from the shockwave, just from glass shattering everywhere. Schools were shaken. It was a pretty big deal. And that one I think that one touched down, or maybe it didn't. It blew up in the sky and just sent such a big shockwave. And then again, we've had big ones like Tunguska. That one, they say, didn't even hit. There's no crater. It just was such a blast blowing up in the sky that it was equivalent to hundreds of nuclear bombs going off at the same time. Now, imagine if one of these hit a major city, and imagine with today's technology, them not knowing about a big one that's already on its way. So what we assume is that we have this amazing technology. We've now cataloged almost all the NEOs, and what people assume is that they haven't found the ones that are going to hit us, but yet they've spent billions of dollars into asteroid defense. Every country in just the last couple of years has started asteroid defense projects. You have China coming up with their lasers, even and Russia talking about putting a laser on the moon for asteroid defense. You've got us coming up with HAMMER, Hypervelocity Asteroid and Mitigation Emergency Response Vehicle. These are nukes on missiles. They have come up with solar sails. They have come up with all sorts of plans. But yet this isn't a real thing. It's not a real threat to the public. Of course it is. And they're spending billions of dollars. And then China building a fake sun and a fake moon. Why would they do that? One thought was, some people are saying, is that it would be lower than the atmosphere covered. So say if some big asteroid hit us, it would cover the Earth. It would send an ash cloud that would stick around and close out the sun. Well, if you're planning ahead for that, you would say, okay, well, we need to make an artificial sun, and we need to make an artificial moon. Just saying. Why did Greenland get pushed back in the first place? Most people say, oh, because of the money. There's 100,000 movies that are losing money, but what they do is they just end up doing a deal with HBO or On Demand, and they get their same money. A lot of the movies that are supposed to be in the theaters right now, they just went straight to On Demand, and they're just charging $20 to rent. And people are renting it. Some of these movies that have come out on Demand have made just as much as at the theater because everybody is at home or locked down. So even more people are watching movies because they're stuck in their house. So I don't get why they push that back, then push it back, then push it back, then push it back, then push it back. And you still can't get a straight answer of when it's coming out. You look up online and it says a million different things. Some said that it was too real, and at the time it was supposed to come out back in July, everybody was really fearful, and they said we don't need an extra thing that people might worry about because it was so realistic with the presidential alert. And remember, when that movie was slated to come out, they were looking at, what was it, Apollo? Dex, you can chime in here. What was the not Apophis, was it Apophis?
Yeah, it might have been.
So we had Apophis. And then we had another one that was getting brighter and brighter and brighter and brighter, and then all of a sudden, mysteriously, just wasn't going to be an object. It was breaking up mysteriously. It was like a Tuesday. They were saying it's getting so bright, it's going thousands and thousands of times brighter. It's coming right at us, and then all of a sudden, it was gone. Dex, you actually tracked it back, and we did secret launches about 2 years before that. And it was about the time where basically it was a public launch, but with a secret payload, and it was completely top secret of what these missiles were going up as. And it was the exact same time, at the speed a rocket goes, to get as far as this thing was away. Do you remember this?
That's correct. That was for Comet Atlas.
So for Atlas was getting brighter and brighter and brighter and brighter. And then all of a sudden they said, oh, it's breaking up. How did it break up? This thing's millions and millions or billions of years old. And then while we're watching in human time, it just starts breaking up. Or did they see it 2 years prior to that and send out their Hail Mary, and they actually got that one? We had a Muamua, first interstellar object, which again, that's another Greenland thing where basically Greenland is saying it was an interstellar object coming from outside, and it had fragments going for as far as you could see. And of course, they named Oumuamua the Scout, so the first one. And then, out of all of Earth's history, we get a second interstellar object in the same year? Fiction, I guess fact is crazier than fiction. If you look at what is happening right now, did you ever think that we would be all wearing masks and the entire world locked down right now? Would you ever think that they would, at one point, just a few months ago, had all travel basically closed down? You couldn't go anywhere. Did you ever think that you would either have to mask up or be refused service? No. So if you have military in the family, ask them what their opinion is on asteroids and on meteors, and just feel them out. Feel them out if there's anything in their handbooks that they're going over, because they're certainly doing military drills about it. They're doing recovery drills about it. FEMA's doing drills about it. They're doing presidential alerts to all of our phones about it. Just saying. Fireball observed over western Japan last night. Pretty crazy here. Look at that. Look at that. That is spooky. Look at that. So you tell me there's nothing about it that's at all, that it's not like every single main country all of a sudden a couple years ago was like, oh, we got to get to the moon. Why? Where was the moon space race? Why was everybody trying to get to the moon? Why was Israel trying to send stuff to the moon? Why is everybody going to the moon? Anybody that's in the cool kids club is trying to get to the moon right now. And then they go, oh, well, it's because it's money, right? They're trying to get these asteroids for money. Who needs money if you don't have a planet to live on? And think about this. If you had to make a tough decision as a planet, you basically got all the scientists, you found out information that was going to... And by the way, even if there's nothing, no catastrophes, look at what they say that the Earth is going to be like in just our lifetime. In the next 30 years, in the next 60 years. They say we're going to run out of natural resources. And even if you debate the climate stuff, warm, cool, whatever it is, there's really no debating some of the stuff that's not even related about all of the different things that are happening as far as we may lose coral reefs. We may lose all these things. We may lose bees, for God's sakes. All of these things could point to just a bunch of craziness. And this is why I don't think you're crazy for thinking that we may be in end times. There are things of biblical proportions, and that's my opinion. If that's not your thing, that's fine. We welcome everybody here. We welcome everybody. Especially, I do know, though, secretly you've got something that you think is crazy, or your family or your friends, you don't even bring it up to them because you're afraid you're going to, one, be judged. I'm sure there's plenty of you that in the back of your head, you do think something is up, that they have knowledge of something so much greater than all of this stuff about 4 years of this or that. Think about the grand scheme of the planet and millions of years, and we're all stuck on this kind of circus of 4 years. What about the rest of the planet? What about the year 2100? Will we have half of the things we have now? Even if there's no catastrophes, what animals will we still have? What sea life will we still have? There's all sorts of crazy stuff. They have the size of Texas, or probably twice the size of Texas now, plastic floating in the ocean. And people think that won't affect it at all? Of course it will. So, just saying, without all of that, we have plenty of things on the stuff. So get back to my point. If you were the head of the planet, or you were part of this group that meets, or you're part of the builder, Mr. Berg's group, and you actually make all the decisions in the world, people think, how could they do this worldwide? How could they do something, an operation worldwide? It's pretty easy. At every country, it goes up to, a very small handful of people, if not one. Some countries, it goes all the way up to one person, and they actually rule the entire country. Ours is a little bit different, but there's a lot of them that are just 1 or 2 or 3 people. You get those people in a room, you can decide the fate of a whole country. And if you put a couple $1 million in those pockets of people that, think about what our president makes a year on the books, say whatever, 400,000. Think about what somebody in Tanzania makes. They probably don't make anything other than living in a nicer house and whatever else. And after they're done, they don't get security service for the rest of their life. They don't get all that. They might get a house or something like that, former president, but they don't get the same stuff that we do. And most countries. Think about how easy it would be to pull those countries into a room with their leaders and then boom, have something done across the globe. And then you've got certain ones that kind of stick out, the ones that are neutral, that don't ally with anybody. Notice they're not taking part in a lot of this stuff. Very freaky stuff. So if they had to make a decision and they knew that millions and millions would perish, who do you think they would pick? And would you understand that they would have to make a decision to actually do what's best for them, right? They're looking down saying, well, we've got to put them somewhere. Just a thought, just hypothetically thinking out loud. Mysterious object that could be 1960s rocket booster will fly past Earth today. How to view it. The looping orbits of 2020. So they say an object is going by and it's possibly a rocket. Very well could come into our atmosphere and say, oh, it's just space junk. And remember, we told you about it. Mysterious space object that has been captured by Earth's orbit is widely believed to be a rocket booster from the 1960s, is now viewable to skygazers as it gets closer to the planet. Oh, and we have a mini moon for the last couple years that's floating around. It's some sort of big object, of course, pulled in. It's actually a kind of a perfect storm to grab something and to snatch it into our orbit. I would highly recommend, if you guys have not already, we've already told you why, and we've actually shown you the evidence of the things that are not reported and what is actually going on as far as what the government is doing to prepare for it, whether it be an EMP or a solar flare, which, if you don't know, many people think that solar flares are actually the root of all planetary catastrophes. You can actually protect your devices, at least, with an EMP shield. This is the same company that's been contracted recently under this executive order by DHS, DOD, and now they are officially on the DEMSO team helping protect the Texas grid. These are Keystone military-tested devices that you can own in your own home. They actually protect against all three phases, E1, E2, and E3, all phases of an EMP. So even if the grid goes down permanently, if you have a generator, your car and your house devices protected, or even your solar system protected, all of those can work in conjunction and you can be up and running like normal. But if you're not, your devices will be fried forever. Even if that doesn't happen, we are due for a solar flare as big as the one in the early 1900s. That happens on average about every 100 years. We have not had our big one yet. This can protect up to 228,000 amps. Not only on that, but you will save on a deductible if your house ever gets struck by lightning. If you've ever known somebody that has actually had their house struck by lightning, it is extremely damaging. This will also protect against that. It is basically the world's best surge protector. And it's 100% American made. MarfoogleNews.com/EMP. It helps the show as well. So thank you guys for supporting us. And you get $50 off per device. China's Chang'e 5, and I've never known how to say this right. Chang'e 5 moon mission probes touch down. It says China has successfully put another probe on the moon. Its robotic Chang'e 5 mission touched down a short while ago with the aim of collecting samples of rock and dust to bring back to Earth. The venture has targeted Mons Rumker, a high volcanic complex in nearside region known as Oceanus Paralium. It says the lander is expected to spend the next couple days examining its surroundings and gathering up surface materials. It has a number of instruments to facilitate this, including a camera, spectrometer, a radar, and a scoop, and a drill. And it will flip your flapjacks. Very easy on the moon, actually.
I was waiting for the kitchen sink.
Yeah, it has everything. Even has an iPhone on it. That's actually probably true. Chinese team test jet engine able to reach anywhere on Earth within 2 hours. Think about that, going all the way around the world in 2 hours. That alone is history making, and we're going to see a whole lot more of this kind of technology and this kind of thing happen in our lifetimes, let alone in just the next 3 years. They say in 3 years, our technology is going to double again. So we're going to see some insane stuff. If you're a young kid, imagine the world that they're going to see. It says the Chinese scientists have built what they claim is a revolutionary plane engine for Mach 16 flight. An aircraft powered by the engine could reach anywhere in the world within 2 hours, they said. The test flight of the prototype in hypersonic wind tunnel in Beijing suggested unprecedented performance in terms of thrust, fuel efficiency, and operational stability. We are now getting into the point where we're on our way to Star Wars.
And Adam, let me put that in perspective. Supersonic is 1.2 to 5 Mach. All Machs are the speed of sound, X number, so 5 times the speed of sound. Hypersonic, which we talked a lot about, especially with everybody in their races with these missiles, right, is 5 to 10. That's hypersonic. So this is in a new category called high hypersonic, which is 10 to 25 Mach.
So you wouldn't even see this thing. It would fly by and the sound would hit you probably after a minute. I mean, that's what's crazy about this. What do you guys think? Russia deploys missiles to Pacific Islands claimed by Japan. And we just told you about 3 days ago they left it open to retaliate because we violated the waters in Japan. Now they've deployed missiles to Pacific Islands claimed by Japan. I just want people to remember the last conflicts that we had, it was one or two little things, and pretty much the entire country knew in WW2 and in WW1. Most people knew they were on track, They thought, we're not at good relationships with these guys. We're not at good relationships with these guys. You pretty much knew who was going to be fighting, who was allies, who was enemies, and you knew what it was going to kind of scale out to be. Japan flipped over in last second mode for of course Pearl Harbor, because we didn't know. We thought we were good. We were having peace talks with them. But again, that actually history repeats itself. But one thing to think about is we did think that Japan was cool. We were like, hey, bro, we're good. As they were bombing our people, surprise attack and suicide attacks. So just keep in mind, we are very far from the last world conflict where people were drafted and everything was going down. But I don't think people realize, like, this is possible again. Not only that, we are now more advanced, and people, one thing that has not changed is the greed of nations wanting more space, wanting more power, and wanting, I guess, more status. It says the Russian military on Tuesday announced the deployment of state-of-the-art defense missiles to the Pacific Islands claimed by Japan. It says Russia's Eastern Military District said in a statement that the S-300V4 air defense missile systems have entered combat duty on the Kuril Islands, adding punch to their shorter-range Tor M2 missile systems deployed there earlier. So they already put some, now they're putting more. Again, this is disputed, right? They're still grabbing land and conquering. It's just much more civilized. Crazy stuff. Priscilla R. says, I said a long time ago that China was way ahead of us. Well, they do have the largest navy. They didn't 2 years ago, but now they do, by 70 ships. But when I said 3 years ago that they were mass-producing ships because they are the kings of manufacturing, they've manufactured everything for years and years, and previous presidents and previous administrations basically said, oh yeah, they make everything for really cheap. Everybody wins. But now they have the technology and the money. They can pretty much make whatever they want. And they can pay a lot of money to the best hackers. They've stolen our hackers. I don't think people realize that. On top of stealing technology, they've taken our best people, our best minds. They've paid them more and stole them and basically put them in the way they do it. From what I heard, is when they take somebody like that who's kind of a secret agent, hacker, CIA type person, they don't let them. They basically put them in a contract for 3 or 4 years, and they don't have outside contact. What they get paid is millions of dollars, but they can't have contact with anybody because they don't want any chance of them leaking out information, or they don't want any chance of them basically being stolen back or being a double agent. So they supervise them, and they basically hack and do all this stuff for them, and they're paid very well, but that's the way that they've gotten our best minds. People say, oh, China's so behind. That's an old cultural thing in United States to think that China is always going to be behind us. If they have the same materials, which again, now it's getting down to the micro point of where they're fighting over actual locations with those natural resources used for missiles and materials. Because everybody's got the same equipment. Everybody's got the same robotics. It's not like Chinese people are stupid. They're some of the smartest people in the world. So I don't get where this whole thing is. It's not exactly a third world country. It's crazy. So I think you should never underestimate your enemy, and of course our previous leaders did, and now they're ahead of us in the Navy department. That was our thing. That was like we puffed our chests and we were like, yo, don't touch my JOs. I don't know where that came from, but you guys get what I mean. We are being re-educated, trapped in our cells with a damn mask. Eat when you can tomorrow isn't promised. Exactly. Ego and ignorance. Good point. See, Alibaba set records on virtual sales 11/11/2020 with AI bots. Alibaba is the Chinese company. They used AI bots and broke records for sales. I never heard of that, but that's I totally see that. We were sold out by our politicians. Let's see here. Mountain Lace says they have infiltrated us instead of invading. Put that on repeat and let it sink in. Speaking of hacking and getting onto that, I hope you guys are getting into Nord. You should help us out. Download Nord. It's a virtual private network. Everybody should have one. Again, that's marfooglenews.com/VPN. If you don't know much about computers, this is the best thing to do. You don't want your identity stolen or your credit card stuff or anything else, since I know you're shopping at home. Get a virtual private network. All you have to do is download it, turn it on. marfooglenews.com/VPN. And then we have iconic Arecibo Observatory radio telescope collapses after a cable broke. Dex, we've covered this like 5 times now. They just keep having...
It just keeps... Yeah, it's like the thing's crumbling to pieces, I guess. Like, every month something new's falling.
This is the same one that we showed had a cable break, and the cables are like this big, thousands of pounds, and it broke a part of the dish, and then they had something else happen. They had like it shocked. They do not want this damn radio dish in service. This is the equivalent of the Epstein dish. Arecibo did not break itself. Hashtag. Arecibo didn't break itself. Just saying. Read the full article on our website, marfooglenews.com. Canadian man drives stranded American family 1,000 miles to Alaska. We need more human beings like this. It says, though most modern-day women generally don't like to think of themselves as damsels in distress, when fate lands on them in peril, sometimes the only thing to do is to call for a knight in shining armor to come to the rescue. It says, for one American woman, that knight turned out to be a Canadian Ranger. It says, Lynn Marchialt was behind the wheel of a pickup towing a large trailer as she and her 2 children were headed to Alaska to join her husband at the military base where he currently serves. It says, although Marchialt is a former military and used to tough situations, even after upgrading to studded snow tires, the Southerner wasn't prepared for the snowy conditions that gradually worsened the further north they traveled. Rather than risk harm to their children or herself, Marchialt decided to pull off the road and in bivouac at a highway lodge that had been set up to house temporary workers. Her husband, stranded due to CV, was unable to come to their assistance, so Marchialt sent an online plea for help. The message was spotted by the watchful eyes of Gary Bath, who lives with his wife Selena in Fort St. John, British Columbia. Though the trek was close to 1,700 kilometers or 1,000 miles, he was determined to see this woman he had never met and her kids to their destination. He says, I didn't care how far it was. I just knew they needed help, and they had a few short days to hit the border before they were going to get in trouble. In addition to the stressful driving conditions as a ranger, Bath knew Americans are only allowed to stay a certain grace period to reach Alaska from the lower 48 states to Alaska. It says Bath and his wife, their car loaded with provisions, met up with Marchialt and her family at the inn, entrusting them to Bath's care. It says Selena drove home, leaving Bath behind to perform his knight in shining armor chauffeuring duties. With Bath as pilot, the rest of the trip was uneventful. Everyone in their car observed CV precautions, and the group reached their destination at the Alaskan border near Beaver Creek in Yukon. So, one thing to think about, we always finish the show with something nice and uplifting. One thing I would like to think about for this Christmas is how we can help others. Many others have suggested that we do, like, people put up their PayPal or stuff like this. The thing is that always gets up for confusion. I do want you guys to reach out to each other and try to start your own stuff. I say that is not really an option when you're dealing with big groups of people. I was thinking more of like a Secret Santa, or if there's families with children that do not or not able to get Christmas gifts this year, we can try to put something. We need to talk about it because there are a lot of people in this Foogle family, and I think that just the viewers here, we don't have to be, super saints or anything. We can start out by trying to help each other. So make sure to follow all other Foogle members on Twitter. Make sure to follow other people until we get our form up, and let's try to help people out. But don't. The thing is it's easy to get taken advantage online. I would say it's really easy to do. Like physically get a toy for somebody in your city or in your state or something. I think that we can all do more. All I would ask you guys to do, though, too, is reach out to somebody you know or somebody you haven't talked to in 10 years. Help them for Christmas. Do something personally, somebody you know, and then tell us what you ended up doing. Let us know how you helped. I'll be spotlighting anybody that I hear that has done something nice or has helped somebody else in this horrible, horrible year. So, with that, I end this. It is no calls today. It's news only Tuesdays. Dex, thank you for helping me and assisting me.
Yeah, great show, brother.
Let's see here. Just to make sure you guys know, if you did super chat on YouTube, the super chats will be on the next show. I don't actually have access to them, so let me see here.
They're in screener.
Perfect. Thank you. And JV says, I think they know resources are going to be very scarce. It says they know how quickly society can collapse, and they won't want to allow their lose their positions. Again, what if you have people scattered all around the world and there's no supplies? Would you want to put everybody in certain areas or get everybody under control so you can put fences up and keep order? What if you had to make that decision? Johnny Dundalis, yes, we are in biblical times. Just remember, Jesus is the only way to God. Amen, amen, says Johnny Dundalis. Billy Breckenridge says, God created us for these times to share love and peace of Jesus. Bill I. Breckenridge, I love it. We've got Cheryl Beth Carter says, love the Foogle fam, bless the Commander-in-Chief, hugs from Denver. Doc Bill, thank you so much, says, another metal monolith appears in Romania, then vanishes. I don't know about that first one because it did have rivets, and I don't think aliens really have rivets, but it might be a sign from somebody else. Maybe something that has 2 3s in it. Why they want to reset is not because things on Earth are going to change dramatically when the worldwide lockdowns and fake make sense. Partly agree on that. And then we've got JV again. Thank you so much. Ronnie Nunez, please check your Twitter. I sent a link. You have my permission to play my videos. Thank you, Ronnie Nunez. I will make sure to do so. We will have a show tomorrow. Jan Cummings, hi Marf, did you see something appeared in Romania similar to the thing in Utah? So glad I'm catching the second live this week. Awesome. And hashtag winning. Doc Bill, space could become the battleground of the future. Doc Bill, I think it already is. Robert Tauteris, thanks for all you do. And Dex, the only true news. Thank you, Robert Tauteris. I appreciate that. Shirley Graham, hi, Adam and family. Hugs and love. Kathleen Sims, thank you so much for what looks like a sticker. Thank you so much. Backwoods Ingenuity. Hey, Marf and Dex, hope you all are doing well, staying safe and prepped. Question, how to deal with creator's block? Got that one. Again, I thought I answered that one yesterday. But what I will say is just keep making videos, even if it sucks. Make 1,000 videos. 1,000 videos before you get your first good one. Ilea says, according to Wikipedia, the Utah monolith arrived between July and October of 2016. I think Elon Musk took it, maybe for his baby's nursery. I did see a bunch of guys posted videos of sitting on it, and they were the only people to do so before they took it out. So they're kind of lucky. EOD Vet says, have you looked at a picture on your phone and looked at the details? Oh, yes. So these are actually old. Okay. Well, I'm glad that I got them, and thank you so much, everybody that supported over on D-Live. And thank you all for being here tonight. Everybody over on D-Live, I appreciate you. Thank you so much. I'll be shouting out the top 3 over there as well. Thank you so much. Again, much love to you guys. Lisa K23, KW025, Truth is Out There. Everyone that was over there as well, thank you so much. I will be making sure to try to get some of those in there as well. Much love. Be safe. Be prepared. And Marf out. Special shout out to The Truth Is Out There. Thank you so much for being number 1. The Truth Is Out There. The Truth Is Out There, number 1. Iggy Mom, number 2. Iggy Mom, thank you so much. Reed 55, it's been a while. Thank you as well for being number 3. MM85, thank you for being number 4. And Mersa1, thank you tonight for being part of the show.
West Virginia prepared mind. Nice to see you here tonight.
We've got the Calvin A, yeah, the Marquis Sparky, the Eric Peltier. Got the Chance Paladin going on, no sin. Got the alien within, Pro Master Sin. Gonna drop it down now, got to go and call. Gotta breed that spam fam and the haunted dog. The truth is out there. Oh, yes it is. Oh, yes it is. Yes it is. La 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 la. The truth is out there. No matter you don't care. The truth is out there. The truth is out there, I don't care. The truth is out there, I don't care. That's what. The truth is out there, I don't care. The sheep say. That's what the sheep say anyway. On my weed, the mindset liberty. I pay the break, I risk going with the refin glade. I know Cheryl got to go Geo off Joe Adams. Gonna be back down with the Dan and VIC. The Donna Paulin, and it's so Ed Brown appalling. Pepper 5-3, thank you for being here. Gun Girl, thank you for being here. Gun Girl, you know you are the queen of the D-line. Got the Iggy Mom. Got the Reed 55 and the 85 and the Mercer 1 and the Big Shot Band and the Space Monkey Fly. You bring that all with the 2 and the Working Man's PhD. West by God, Virginia, thank you for dinner. Rap so soon, 2020, thank you. Punchy, bring it back, love it. Thank you for following, welcome to the Foogle family. I got the deal hot, I got the idol, a quantum potato with the Carol Maga and the Walter side. With the more music reader, I'm gonna go back and see ya at the back of the line with K.A.D. Got the Joe Adams on a mission and pray they all gotta go pagan 13. Gonna bring that Chrissy to 1 and Mrs. 3.
chewy weather gonna bring it back no matter what we do. Tall drink of water and now Randy. Hey, Randy, think you feel more dandy. Go back around and know your heart start that candy. General Wisconsin, gonna bring it back on down. Cheryl, Beth Carter, and the typo now. With the coming moon, you got to see that Susie out of King. I know Miss Now. It's getting real hot, like I told G.O.Y. Wanna go and they stand there like me, yo, Adam. Gotta go back, Cheryl on the bed, card up with the jam Modera. Wanna bring it like, oh, I'm here. Oh, now I take it forever. Well, respiratory, yeah, I see that same old name. Charlie 64, gotta puff on that lean grill. Yeah. Gonna do it every day now, I do. Gotta recycle Priscilla I. Bring it right back, Mr. Carr. And the T. Taylor apple bus. Got the chance, fella did feel good, and everybody getting just a little bit silly with the Yeshua daughter of Zion. Bring it right back now, I'm crying on somebody's shoulder. It's getting colder. Triple of Yadua, it's bringing like, oh, Randy. Gonna background, also dandy. Gonna do it like, no, it's kinda. And just Wisconsin day after day, we see the window panes. They getting dirty, clean them, and they get no cleaner. Gotta bring that sunshine, be that Dixie door, and some human. Love you, mom, and bring it right back like dum-dum. Hot soup on Don John, bring it right back on. It goes right back and gotta get on. Gotta get that, just get on. Life learner, gotta go back round. Part joking on the humans, I generally praying to say. God, whether they realize it or not, result going and smokers on fire on a mission. Going right back now, and now they singing. Cavity on the London, Dink gun dog. Gonna bring it right down and do gonna bring it on down and to go back now. Crazy, gonna make with the music beat up, alright singing. KD with the Joe Adam, Cheryl Louis and Randa. Gonna Melissa Cat, gonna bring everybody too. I love them Eagles for what they are. With the dumb new daughter of the Zion, Paul Shaggy and everybody lying. Go right back now, nobody deep now, and I'm breathing down. Gonna do everything that you go. Gotta go back, oh, it's okay. Okay, see you later with the East suit. Gonna bring it like Issa. Gonna do it like, oh, I'm Mr. Misa. Gonna bring it like, hey, oh, Dabba. The hot, gonna do it like, never give it up. Never giving up, used to it, that oh, die. With the London. I've been Is this pig Latin going right back now? And what he's spatting, I don't know. Can't understand. Maybe Mario Lopez can't tell me with his accent. raptor, crap that on the side of the road. Just kinda already know music creator. Gotta go back, love, love, love for you all. Why is he so bad? Yes, it is that broken. Gotta do that rapture too. All man. Gotta go back, change valley, then go right back, on the right back in with the Mark H. Marky. If you miss it, recline, rewind, do it every time. Oh, don't baby, never scared, yeah. With the Jambo 1, Nintendo Jambo, or whatever, son. East up on the OKC, bring it right, Joe Adams and me. Going right back, never know me, Idaho Joe and Dixie Doe. On a mission, on a mission. My Isaac, gonna smash it like we never realized it. When did Willie so silly? We killing it with that Rizzo. Oh, so bizarre. I love Beagles, eagle, float back, boat now. Oh, when I swoop down like an eagle. Oh, there a belay and a below. I'm gonna go down in a helo, just like Kobe Bryant. I'm gonna go in the hood with my best friends. Gotta go down now. I think I missed it, yes, it did. Gonna bring it back now. Lucky is probably what you is out here. Oh, Iggy Mo M now read 55 going back down and go right. Thanks for the top 10. Gotta do it like never did. No, don't go to fuck. Yes, Rebecca here, SHTF all day. Gonna do it like we never say. Don't argue, be spiritually prepared. Period. I'm stuttering like that going back down. Ed Brown, gotta see what's up now. Derek now, shalom, everyone. Popping up on the bip, pop, baby, don't pop, with the top pop going up, bip, rob, number, yes, eat deal. Wonder if the fit mind going back, trip time, gonna go back now, S overtime, DM, OBDM, out, now, with the nobody go at top for that. Now that you got time for that, nobody got no time for that, nobody got no time for that. Gonna bring it right back with the rap, and a Carol Mega, it's Tiger, all them boys. Gotta bring it right back now and now we the shy. Gotta get that sunny beach, girl. There's a goal of mystery as in the whole world. Gotta catch me, sir. Stop thinking why I turn. Gotta do it like call me, sir. Sass Beanie and it got that world. Gotta bring it back to do it now. Like dinosaur, Mr. Rano. Sorano. Gotta get it wet, gotta get prep, gotta go back like Derek Knapp. Gonna do it like background, everybody jet like a hypersonic 16 times as fast with the Apple bus going as slow as speed 60 miles with Cayenne New Breeze. Gonna bring back now, I need more like I got Charlie 64. They did not tell me fix mine. Going right back down and Deborah Kim. My bone down, I'm going down, no app, no Eric L-T-A-R. I'm doing everything that I could and I'm a sweater, put me on like a Christmas. Oh. Everybody wanna go back down, David, up now, and up now, and I'm out, what way to up, and go out back, oh, doing out, they, oh, alien probe master, alien probe master, never getting close to my asser, gonna do it right back, got classer, never gonna say it, but I dazzle, zasser, gonna do it like, oh, I got plaster, oh, the fake wall, give it all, go out back round, give it all, do it all back, and I give it all right, and he add back, and Mercer, one gonna go on back, and do it on, everybody knows, no, night, for the Tanya, Kogan, Ramos, gonna bring with that, he understand most, like that guy from that, family, house on the brink, family, skin, skin family, skin family, skin family, John T. Pick out. Have a good night, y'all. Have a good night, y'all. Be safe, be prepared, and Marfy out. Be safe.